Hey guys, what's going on? It's Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel with another video for you guys here today. And with it, we need to talk about the ongoing situation with these players because they're starting to become more vocal in what they want the Cowboys front office to do in this particular offseason. And this really hasn't happened before, where we're starting to see more and more of the upper echelon players actually push for this type of stuff. Now, before we get started, if you guys can like this video, that'd be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you're new, and hit that notification bell as well so that you can continue to support the channel. Now, all that out of the way, I've been talking about this for years now. I think that the Dallas Cowboys front office needs a little bit more aggressive nature in their approach to how they go and do free agency. A lot of it is bargain basement stuff, and it really doesn't help you because when you get into situations like you saw in the playoff game versus the 49ers, you going cheap at a particular position cost you, that being wide receiver. Now, with that being said, that also involves trading away talent and not replacing it. You did that with Amari Cooper, and it still irritates me to this day because it really felt like if you had kept Amari Cooper, which would have been the cheaper option to do, I mean, maybe you do win that playoff game. You have a second pass catcher outside of CeeDee Lamb that can do his thing. And now you have just CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. You kind of hope that he can turn back into his original form pre-ACL injury. That's pretty much it. I mean, Tony Pollard's most likely going to get franchise tag, and if you include him and Lamb are really the biggest playmakers on offense. And all I can say with that is that I think that the Dallas Cowboys need to really assess how they build their team. And keep in mind, I'm not trying to sit here and say that they need to go out and buy every single free agent out that's on the market. You know, oh, you need to get Deron Payne, you need to go after DeAndre Hopkins, you need to go get Hunter Renfrow, you need to get... No, of course not. But you need to add some pieces in here. Like, I feel that the Cowboys are close. And if they could just add maybe like 3 pieces, key pieces, not bargain basement crap, and their draft, I think they're in a much better position. What's been going on is that you have Trevon Diggs going out being like, hey, go get my brother. Let's go do it, even though it's contractually impossible because of the dead cap the Bills would take with trading him. But point is hey, let's go get him. So then you have Micah Parsons going out on Twitter being like, hey, Calais Campbell, you want to be in Super Bowl 58? Come to Dallas, you know, or hey, let's go get Deron Payne. I don't care what the money says. Stuff like that. Then, you know, CeeDee Lamb saying you need to go get weapons for Dak and this, that, and the third. These are important. You have superstar players on your team pushing. And that actually happened last season, you know, with the offseason. And, you know, them maybe going after Von Miller or going after Bobby Wagner. Like, they wanted to make it happen, but the front office didn't try. Now the players are being a lot more vocal, and that stuff does matter. Because if you're a player that knows that you need the team to do X, Y, and Z to get where you need to go, and they don't do it, you know, sure, you might still stay with that team, but, like, imagine if you are a guy like Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is a no BS type of guy, and we've seen that. You know, he says what's on his mind. You know, what happens in a situation where he's like, listen, you know, I would love to be in Dallas, and I love being a Cowboy, but they don't do anything. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but you might see something like that happen, and whether it be now, next year, or 5 years, or 10 years down the road, you're going to have a player as the Cowboys get further and further and further into how they do business with Stephen Jones's plan of just being in the middle of the road and not even signing a tier 2 guy, it's eventually going to crack under pressure. So if I'm the Cowboys, you need to look at your options and address this team accordingly. Hey, you want to bring back LVE? Cool. You want to bring back Connor McGovern? Cool. But you need to go out. Maybe you go sign Odell. Maybe you don't after you looked at what happened with Michael Gallup. Maybe the same happens to OBJ. Okay. Do you go after a Brandon Cooks? Do you go after X, Y, and Z? Because they tried to do that at the trade deadline. And they failed because the compensation was too much. I don't know how things are going to transpire in this period of time. But all I can tell you guys, if the Dallas Cowboys just add maybe 3 to 4 more key pieces, whether it's just a 1-year deal, but it's a player like on the level like of a Juju Smith-Schuster, who I was cool with signing back, last year on a 1-year deal. He's probably got himself out of a price range for Dallas. You can't just let go of guys and act like everything's fine if you don't do it properly. And the Cowboys got caught with their pants down, and that's why they lost. But if we take with what this team has, I firmly believe if you take the coaching and what's going on there, and it ends up being a legitimate West Coast system, and you add players that can help back up that new system, that's exactly where I think the Cowboys can raise my expectations, because as of right now, they're a first-round exit depending on the matchup, because they don't have legitimate pass catchers outside of CeeDee Lamb. Dalton Schultz is most likely gone, and you got Peyton and Ferg, and that's going to be one thing. But what worries me is that this Dallas Cowboys team will not go all in enough. Not saying like trade everything. I'm cool with doing that too. You have to strike while the iron is hot. The NFC most likely will be weak next year. Aaron Rodgers most likely will be gone. You will have a situation to where, now Tom Brady is retired. Realistically, then you will just have the Philadelphia Eagles, the 49ers, realistically is the only other teams that stand in front of you. Like, Dallas is starting to get into a position to where you have an open lane. It's a matter of, do you take advantage of it? And this is that time where you can open up a 3-year window for yourself by moving money around. So I don't want to go too much further into that, but these guys are getting more vocal, and that's going to be important. I'm going to be very curious to see how the front office responds, but I probably know what's going to happen. So if you enjoy the content, guys, once again, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, hit the notification bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.